Welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name's Javier, and inside this channel we create DIYs and sewing projects. But for today we are going to be creating a no-sew Mic check, mic check. Okay, hold up. As you've noticed, my sound in this video is going horrible and it continues to get worse in the video, so we're just gonna switch over to a voiceover. And in this channel we are going to be doing a DIY corset with an old pair of jeans. So let's get into the video. So these are the items you will be needing for today: an eyelet tool, regular rulers, some E6000, a pair of scissors, your old pair of jeans. You're also going to be needing some pins, a hammer, and a sponge applicator. The first thing we're going to do is be cutting out this piece from the pair of jeans and cut very close to the edge of this. Now that the jeans are all cut up, this is how they look. We are going to be using the back side of this piece, so cut down this line or this seam and then go all the way down to this corner edge and then slit that whole piece out. So cut down the seam and then turn left down to that pointy and then just cut that piece out. So this is the style or shape I'm trying to go for. So let me show you how I did this. You want the outside of the pant leg to be facing up, and then you're gonna bring this left side in 4 inches. Fold the bottom piece up about 1.5 inches. However, we are going to be cutting this piece, so you can just chalk it or fold it. But before we cut anything out, you want to make sure this fits your waist. Let me show you how you can fit this onto your waist. What you want to do is get 4 fingers, place them on your belly button, and then put the edge of the corset on one side of your hand and wrap the corset around your body with the other hand. And then check again to make sure the corset is on the edge of your fingers. Now grab your chalk and mark your side seam. You can always use the seam down your pants and just go straight up, which is one tip I would use. And now you want to find your center back, which is that dip that you have in your back, and also make sure the corset doesn't shift. That will be your center back. So grab your chalk and chalk that in. And now you have your side seam mark and your center back mark. Now let's mark that 1.5 inches from the bottom of the corset, and now cut that piece off. Now you want to get rid of this excess fabric on the top of the corset, so just cut it off. And this is the shape that you should get. Since we measured half of our body, we can just grab the other piece, lap it, and that should give you the rest of the other half of your body, if that makes sense. So layer the other half of the corset on top of this. Make sure you match the ends on the top and the bottom and the side. Now you want to slowly open it to the right until you get to the side seam mark that we chalked. Now remark that line with the chalk, and the chalk should transfer over, as you can see. Now roll it back a little bit more until you get to the center back seam. Re-chalk it with some chalk, and the chalk should rub onto the other piece. Now you want to unfold both pieces and stack them on top of each other. And now you want to make sure your center back seams match when you layer them on top, and then add some pins to keep it in place. And then you're just basically going to stack them with those pins matching at the center back seam or with the chalk. If you use the pins to match your center back, make sure you remove the pin and now pin both pieces together. Now you want to match the bottom edge and add more pins on the side. Remember to match the bottom edge and then pin. Now we're going to try on the corset on once more, and it looks like it fits perfectly. If you do want to make adjustments, make them now, and you can just do that by unpinning and separating the pieces a little bit more. Now we want to find a placement where we're going to be placing these straps, and we're going to do that by finding the side seam and the center back and measure how much space we have in between, which is 7 inches, so 3.5 should be the center mark. And now you want to square that from the bottom. And now you can always redefine the center back and the side seam lines. Remember to chalk each line straight from the bottom, so make sure the bottom is parallel and the sides are parallel. And now do this on the other side. Find the center once more. And here's a small trick: chalk the line. Now you want to lift this part up and then chalk one line once more, and that should be your princess seam on the back. For most corsets, there is no center back seam. It's usually like a straight piece, so we're gonna replicate that onto this corset as well. So we kind of want to have like this long rectangular piece on the back, but as you can see, they don't match perfectly. So we're gonna chalk a line and even both of those pieces out. Now we want this corner right here to match to this curve, and once I freehand draw that, you're just gonna fold this over itself. Since this side should reflect the other piece, stack it once more, matching all of the edges on top, the bottom, and on the side, and then pin. And now you want to cut right on that chalk line. Now we're going to be cutting on this chalk line right here on the back. Remember, we're not cutting off the side seam part, we are cutting off the princess back seam, which is located between the center back and the side seam. Using that same trick, keep the ruler in place, flap the jeans over on itself, and then chalk that line. And now we're gonna cut that piece out. You can always add a pin just to give you an indication of where that seam is going to be at. You want to make sure you always keep the pins in the center back in place. Never remove those. Always keep those in place. The next step is finding the location for the eyelets, 1/2 inch away from the edge. Now fold this over on itself, crease the center mark with your nail, unfold and chalk that crease. Now you want to mark a 1/2 inch from the top and the bottom. Match this mark to the center, crease it and chalk that in, and repeat the same step to the bottom side and the other side of the corset. The eyelets are going to be placed on each of these marks. Now let me show you how to install these guys. One of the ends of the eyelets is going to be longer than the other one. The one with the longer side is the one that's going to be exposed on the surface of the fabric. Since this is our surface, you want this piece to be facing down. So you're going to cut a little slit into the fabric. You never want to cut a bigger hole than the eyelet itself, because then you won't be able to install this piece. Push the longer side through the hole. Grab the other eyelet that has a smaller end and place it on top. Grab this piece and place it on the bottom. It should fit right in. Grab this tool and place it on top, and you're going to need your hammer for this part. You want to hammer that in, and that's how it should look. Always remember to cut a very small hole, gradually make it bigger. Repeat the same step on the other side. I'm starting to notice this part is a little bit too out for me, so I'm going to be grabbing this end and match it to the side seam. Press it down with my fingers, and now I'm going to cut off this piece. The next step is to glue these flaps down and the center back. Add some glue. You can always use a sponge applicator to even everything down. This is optional. You want to do thin layers of glue so it doesn't come out lumpy in the back. And now repeat the same step on each side of the corset. For the next step, we are going to be gluing down the strap on the corset. Add a small amount of glue on one side and then flip it over right on that raw edge. And trim the excess piece off, add some glue, and you want to add this other piece on the side seam. And repeat this step on all the sides where we chalked, except on the center back piece. As you can see, I made a big mess with my first one. I'm going to be cutting off a 1/2 inch strap of denim using the same pair of jeans, and glue that on top of my mistake. Since I did this to one side, we have to repeat the same steps to the other side just so it reflects. Add a small amount of glue and then place the straps down. Now you want to let this set for about 24 hours. Next, we're going to be cutting off all the extra pieces on top. After that, let me show you how I lace up this corset. So I basically do the regular type of lace up where you cross it over, but you're going to cross it over on itself once more and then loop it through. So cross over and then cross over once more and loop the shoelaces through. Shoelaces or whatever you feel free to choose. You can use ribbon or whatever. I'm using laces. However, you're gonna have to lace this on yourself. You cannot fit into it as is, so I'm just showing you how to do it off the body. Now let's get a model in and show you guys how this looks. want to see more of these cool DIYs, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.